Welcome to the INSuRE section, and I am Agnes Chen, Professor Emeritus at Northeastern University. With me is Susanne Wetzel, Professor of Stevens Institute of Technology. Today, I would like to show you how the program started, how it involves. A lot of people do not know, ask me what INSuRE is all about. They have no idea, so I'll tell you how it is being administered, and then Susanne will tell you the values of the program, the challenges, and future improvement that we have in mind. Okay, can you go back one slide? So how INSuRE started? It started with a coffee conversation between Purdue PI Melissa Dark and the NSA SEAL Mark Lopke. And they were talking about how do you connect the SFS students in each of the CAE programs to apply research in government, and how to connect students directly to the technical directors and not HR, so that we can better recruit these strong students. So it comes out and said, well, why don't we try a research course? So in 2012, it started at Purdue with 1 university and 2 TDs. Then in 2013, with NSF support, 4 other universities joined the program. The next year, 6 additional universities, again supported by NSF. And 2 years later, 2 more universities, again supported by NSF. In 2017, NSA, through a CAE-R collaborative effort, they added in 11 additional universities. And some of these universities are not CAE-Rs, but they are 4-year universities and would like to open their students to research early. Some of them may not even have graduate programs. Finally, in 2019, 1 additional university is added. So what is the mission of the program? We would like to provide students research education early in their academic life, acquainted them with research methodologies, such as how do you define the, how do you formulate the problems in a well-defined statement, so that you can plan out a path to understand and try to solve the problem, or may not solve the problem, but understanding the problem in itself is a research accomplishment. The ability, we want the students to be able to present the problems and findings succinctly in both written and oral form. And they should also be able to work in teams with other people. At the same time, we would like to provide government additional help in solving their problems, and also, of course, a source of strong students for recruitment. We would like to see also more collaboration between the TDs and students. Next slide. So a program as complicated as this, with so many universities and diverse geographical location, a central administration and managing the program is a must. It has always been Purdue University for the at the beginning for quite a few years, until last year, Cal State's San Bernardino took over the management. And this year, myself and Susanne are the co-directors. So what are the responsibilities for the institutions? For those who are already in the program, we need to get from them at the start of the semester whether they will be offering the course in that semester or not. And also give us an estimate of the number of students, so we can plan on how many projects we need to be prepared for. Each institution will, of course, have to provide the name of the faculty member who's teaching the course. For institutions who would like to join the program but are not in the program yet, we ask each one of you to propose a plan for running the course. And depending on the capacity of the semester and the proposed plan, new institutions will be invited to join the program. We want to, going back one slide. Yes. Students will be, this is a course that will provide credit to the students. So students will, instead of getting a course syllabus, they will be getting problem statements from the agencies. We will also hold an open house with all the technical directors and students so that they can discuss their ideas and also clarify some of the problem statements. Furthermore, we would like them to know each other's so that they have a good idea of what they can expect at the end. From then on, then students have to go back home and look at all the problems that they are interested in and submit bids for the projects during the first 2 weeks of the semester. We ask each team to submit at least 2, preferably 3 bids, because we cannot guarantee that they all get their first choice. The administration, with agreement from the technical directors, will assign problems to the teams. And then research proposals will then be submitted by students. Once research started, there should be a weekly or bi-weekly meeting between students and their technical directors. Students also need to submit weekly core charts indicating their progress and challenges. And sometimes technical directors can actually write their comments on the core chart. So this provides another means of communication. You don't have to wait until the assigned time for the. Once research is going on, we expect a midterm report and presentation, and then the final report and presentation. In each institution, the teaching faculty responsibility is to oversee the students and technical directors' interaction. They are to guide and support students' research by asking critical questions and guide them through the thinking process. They are the people who are going to evaluate, provide feedback to student presentation, both written and oral. And of course, they are the ones who will assign the course grade. Going back, one more, okay. One more. Go back one more, right. So for partner organizations, for government, can you go back one more slide? Yeah, for government agencies, we would like the technical directors to identify people and recruit people in the agency to provide open problems. They will provide the problem statements and necessary background to complete the projects to the central administrations for distribution to students. We expect them to attend open houses to further clarify the problems and arrange weekly and bi-weekly meetings with students. And we expect them to attend all midterm and final presentations. So current states, what we have is 24 institutions in the program currently. And as of today, more than 800 students have gone through the program and more than 100 problems have been proposed. There are 16 partner agencies and organizations that are providing technical directors as well as problems. And these are the 16, NSA, NIST, Argonne, and most of them are all government agencies But as you see in the next slide, we also have FRDCs. Okay, and we hope that this list, and we expect this list will continue to grow. To give you a sense of what kind of projects the students are working on, we have a sample of really diverse projects that will allow students of different interests participate in the program. For those students who are more mathematical inclined and love cryptography, they can choose the cryptographic protocol analysis and formal verification. For those who are more interested in communication security, they can look into the wireless vehicle communications. They can either use simulation tools such as WINES, or there's a institute even build a test bed for a distributed vehicle network and do a hands-on project. Unfortunate thing is by the time that they build the test bed, they don't really have time to actually carry out and testing the security. But having a test bed there allows other people to continue the work. If students who are interested in Internet of Things, they can actually look at the IoT devices and check which are the ones that have been compromised or carrying out cyber attacks. For those students who are more interested in coding and software designs, they can look at malware similarities and their differences. A very difficult problem is how do you do cyber attack attributions? Okay, so again, you need to look into the codes and analyze and correlate malware samples. Now, not all problems are technically related. There are also social science problems and legal and law aspects of it. So students who are interested more in the social science area, they can try to take the program, understand cybersecurity policy at federal and state level.
Okay, so Agnes.
Yeah, so I'm going to hand it over to Susanne now.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for talking over. So Agnes nicely described the logistics and how the program works and how it evolved. And so an important component to all of this is also for us to really kind of let people know what the benefits are, especially for those who might be aspiring to joining the program. And it's a question that we get asked oftentimes as to, you know, what is it that's in there for me? And I think something that was very clear and obvious from just some of the sample projects that Agnes just described is the fact that the breadth of the kinds of problems and the types of research problems that are brought to the consortium, they're tremendous in breadth and depth, and probably way beyond what many of us can actually offer as far as faculty research areas is concerned. So this is a means to really expand the research capabilities and offer this to the students and offer it to the students also at a very early kind of a stage in their career potentially, and we'll get to talk about that a few slides down. And really kind of giving them the opportunity to explore research topics also that might not necessarily be represented at their institution. And the reason why this works is because the technical directors will provide the technical oversight together with the faculty, but that means that the faculty member doesn't have to be the subject matter expert in all of the research questions and problems that are offered by the consortium. Also, one thing that Agnes already talked about is this having different disciplines come together. Not everything is technical, not everything is computer science or computer engineering. We also have a lot of projects that have a business or a law component, a social science component. So many of the projects actually are cross-disciplinary, something that's very important for our students to learn early given that once they're working out in the field, that this is a more natural kind of an environment that they will find, other than what they might see in their field of study, where they're all of the same kind. So one thing that's very important to the students is that they get to work on real world research problems. Oftentimes, we get told as faculty, well, this is a research problem that you kind of made up, or that you try to kind of put together. But having something that comes from the field, that has a background in a real world problem, and that has a real world application once a solution or an approach is devised, that is something that makes a big difference to the students, and has a much greater level of attractivity to the students to work on. What we've seen with the student body at large that is involved or was involved, and Agnes said already that we've had hundreds of students going through the program, is that we see a tremendous improvement in the students, and in particular in regards to also the soft skill development, something again that is of paramount importance when we talk about hireability and job readiness for the students. We see this with the written skills, we see it with the organizational skills, we see it with leadership and teamwork. Everything of that sort, of these soft skills, is what the students need to take on and really exhibit and learn and improve on when they're part of this team, working with a technical director and working in a larger team, tackling this kind of a real world problem. It allows the students, the faculty, and the institutions then also to really establish connections to the technical directors, to the agencies, which, eventually they will become employers. So kind of making these connections with prospective employers and getting to know them, and the prospective employers getting to know the students, seeing how they perform in the context of a real project. This is something that's invaluable to all sides. In some cases, we've had some of the problems in some of the projects that were carried out to actually lead to publications. In some cases, we had this lead to dissertation topics. And in one case, we even had extended funding and the establishing of a research lab on campus, that in part was due to the involvement with INSuRE. As Agnes had already alluded to, it's not very simple to administer the program. There are a lot of moving parts. You already got a feel for this with the different entities that are involved, whether this is the technical directors, this is the faculty, this is the institutions at large. And so we have a couple of challenges that we have to tackle on a continuing basis. Some of the institutions are semester-based, others are on the quarter system. And so we have to find a way to kind of balance this out, in particular with these deliverables that we're trying to achieve and go through in lockstep. We have a common meeting time that everybody keeps open. This is our Friday afternoons. And so we have these common meetings, whether this is now for the open house, whether this is for the midterm or the final presentations, where all the institutions are expected to participate, listen in, and really kind of contribute. The INSuRE program really goes beyond just working on the research program and the research problem that the individual team has expressed interest in and was assigned to work on, but it's also to learn about all the other projects that are going on at the same time, and therefore really kind of getting to know this wealth of current edge projects and developments in the field. And I think this is crucially important, again, for the students today, that when they go into the workforce, when they continue to decide how to pursue further education, whether to go into a PhD program or whatnot, that they have a good feel for the field and what's really kind of the current topics that are driving the field. Going back to the challenges, we have different start and end dates. We have different time zones that we need to deal with. We have institutions in California and institutions on the East Coast, and so we have to make it work. We have certainly, some faculty that put in more time and effort, students the same way, and TDs than others. And we have to kind of even this out and really kind of make this work for everybody. We need to have a policy in order to control the growth. As Agnes already pointed out, it's not that we can take in just everybody who expresses interest, because there is a certain number of projects that are being proposed every semester. And we have a certain number of institutions that would like to participate. And we somehow have to keep this in balance, because we can't overload the TDs and we can't take on new institutions and promise them to be part of this and not have projects for them. So this is kind of, you know, a challenge to make this work, and requires quite a bit of juggling. Challenges for faculty at their institutions, also really important for everybody to understand, is that not for everyone this involvement counts towards their course load. So that's something to keep in mind, that, you know, this might be an additional thing that you take on to all the other things that you're doing already. In some cases, it has worked as institutions were able to kind of institutionalize the offering in the context of either a project or a capstone course, but that's not been the case for all institutions. And so this is a continuing challenge for many of the institutions. It's difficult for the faculty, obviously, to pin down the number of students. Sometimes we don't need to, sometimes we don't know the exact number of students until our drop period is over. At the same time, going back to what Agnes said, we need to start with the semester and kind of the projects and the work that's kind of part of INSuRE, with the open house and the bidding very early, because otherwise we will cut into the research time even further. And so that's a challenge that the INSuRE has to deal with, both on the faculty side and the administrative side as well, in case we have to merge teams or something. We have to recognize the research time is rather short. And so it's really kind of, you know, short and intensive. We are all operating in a 14 or 15 week semester. If we take the front time for, you know, getting used to the INSuRE project with the bidding and everything and the project assignment, then we have about, you know, 10 weeks left for the actual project work. And so you can imagine that this isn't really that much time to get the research done. And this is also one of the reasons why some of the teams actually continue for a second semester. This is also why we as a consortium also had some institutions work this as a capstone project, which goes across 2 semesters to actually have more research time. We've had the challenge, and again, Agnes already mentioned that, with the testbed and the Honda for the vehicular networking project, that if you have hardware that you need to purchase, makes it all the more difficult, because you need lead time for the acquisition. And so this might be cutting into your research time. So this is something to keep in mind, and might not be, you know, possible for every single project, because it's a challenge that adds on to the research time itself. It's important to keep the students involved and make sure that they get to attend all the presentations. Sometimes it's really difficult to keep the attention of the students for the other presentations and be really engaged, but it's an important learning component. And so we as faculty really have to work with the students to make this work. What are the near-term efforts that we're striving for as a consortium? Continuing to develop the policy for admitting additional institutions. We feel that this is very important, and we would like to have more institutions have the benefit of participating. We would like to obviously recruit more TDs, because that allows us to admit more institutions. The more problems we have, the more institutions we can have participating. And as this directly correlates to additional problem statements, and so additional opportunities for students to work on problems. We may need more flexibility in offering INSuRE in different ways, offering as a year-long project, maybe starting and ending in different kind of intervals than we're doing it right now in terms of lockstep with the semesters, but that's something to figure out. And obviously, you know, we need to keep the communication up and improve it as much as we can in order to keep this moving forward and being really a successful program. Future aspirations that are a little bigger than the near-term efforts are that we really would like to see the INSuRE projects to become more and as an incubator for long-standing research projects between the agencies and the institutions, to build up capacity and really take on big projects and tackle the real important and real difficult problems that our nation is facing. We would love to see this expand to all the CAE-Rs, and in particular, we are very, very strong on wanting to offer this as an opportunity for undergraduate students to give them a view into research and potentially kind of spur their interest in pursuing a graduate degree. We all know that we have a shortage of PhD graduates, PhD students even considering graduate school on the master's level or considering to even do a project or a thesis. And we're hoping that INSuRE can actually help us at least contribute to addressing this problem. And a long-term goal obviously is also that this might lead to funding to support research with hard problems, as I already mentioned, and potentially not even just for one institution, but really kind of do this among multiple institutions from among the CAE-Rs. So all of this would not have been possible without the great support that we have received from multiple funding agencies. And Agnes already mentioned that earlier. We had tremendous support from the National Science Foundation and also from the National Security Agency over the years. And we're very grateful for the support and for this continued support to kind of make this work. We also had a small grant from Intel for some equipment purchases for some of the student projects. So once again, we are very grateful for the support without which this whole endeavor would not have been possible. With that, we would like to close and really open this up for questions and suggestions. Obviously, if you're interested in learning more, or if you're interested in joining the consortium, please feel free to reach out to Agnes and myself. And other than that, thank you very much for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.
I have a question. My name is Katerina Gorsheva-Popstano. I'm with West Virginia University. My question is about the relationship between the CAE research schools that are certified and the INSuRE project itself. I understood that the goal is to increase the number of schools that participate, but is there going to be any type of requirements, or I just want to better understand how that is planned to work.
Okay. Susanne, you want to answer that?
No, you, or yeah, whatever.
So you're asking how you can get your students to participate in INSuRE program. Is that what you are saying? If you're not a CAE-R already.
We are a CAE-R already.
So you are a CAE-R?
Yes, we are, but there's no requirement to participate in INSuRE program, right?
Right now, not yet, but it's by invitation, because we have to make sure that the number of students in the program for each semester is within our capability, because we have only a finite number of technical directors. So there's only a finite number of projects that they can supervise.
So is there a typical number of students, or I'm just trying to understand before I talk to the colleagues at my institution, where this is going, how we should be approaching it, and what would be next step if we would want to join INSuRE.
Okay, so as in the slide, we are not admitting any new institutions for the spring semester. But starting in the fall semester, at least it's our intention to actually admit a maybe three or four new institutions. Okay, it depends, because there are we have to look at how many technical directors and how many problems that they propose. In addition, not every continuing institutions will offer the course for every semester. So if there are not that many continuing institutions offering the course in one particular semester, then we can add more institutions. So in the long term, what we would expect is there will be a rolling scheme. So some institutions will be offering 1 year and some others will offering another year. That's what we would like to see, because we simply cannot handle, at least with current situation, we cannot handle all of them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.